action of muscles is something that you should learn whether you're a beginning, novice, or avid lifter and you're trying to hit the muscle to the maximal degree, or if you're recovering. So what do we mean by that? Well, the action of the muscle. You don't have to be an anatomy nerd and know all the origins and insertions and things like that and the nerve innervations of muscles. If you want to look them up, that's great. But if you just look up the action, then you can understand exactly how you should be working something out without watching a single video. So let's take the bicep, for example, right? Real commonly worked out muscle, especially for guys, right? So what does the bicep do? If we shorten the bicep, it will pull your arm like this. Now, if you looked it up, you would see it's flexion of the forearm and supination of the forearm, okay? So this is supination, this is pronation. Just remember supination because you could hold a cup of soup like that, right? So you won't forget that. So if it's flexion and supination of the forearm, do you think it's a better idea to do your curls like this? Well, you're flexing the forearm and that's good. But are you supinating? No, you're neutral. Or like this. Probably like this. This will be maximum activation. Take the pec major, right? You want to work out the pecs. What are the actions of the pec major? Well, it has a few, right? One is flexion of the humerus, so this upper arm bone here, flexion, adduction, so coming in, and internal rotation of the humerus. So if you come like this, you should feel squeezing in the pec. I feel it really good right now, right? So if you know things like this, then you can say, okay, I know the action, I know the way that muscle should move, but also I know the opposite of that action. And in the case of the bicep, well, it would be then extension and it would be pronation, right? So you can start all the way in that position and you could start back and then you could come all the way through the full range of motion that muscle is responsible for. And if you do that, you'll hit the muscle fibers to the maximal degree. Whereas, this is supination and flexion of the forearm, but if you sat here, right, you're only hitting a portion of the biceps. If you went all the way down and all the way up, you're making them perform from this most stretched position to flex. And so you're hitting the entire muscle. The same would go for the pecs. And if you haven't looked up actions, I'm sure if you're somebody who's gone to the gym and you've done the, pec deck fly machine, right? Well, you realize that, okay, if I just come out to here, I don't quite feel it as much, but if I come all the way back and then I come in, well, I feel it a lot more through the whole motion. I'm hitting the entire portion of the pec. Now, this much is true. If you're trying to improve strength, you're trying to improve the size of the muscle in terms of lifting. Now, let's look at something like recovery, though. It would be great to get through that full range of motion, but if you have an injury to, say, the erector spinae, right, which travel down your back like this, I can't reach up all the way, but they travel down alongside the spine and then, slightly lateral to that. It's actually spinalis longissimus iliocostalis from medial to lateral, if you were curious. But, if you can't go all the way down and all the way up, and that's painful, well, that's why you start with just a small activation, a small portion of the range of motion of that muscle activation. And so you're laying on your stomach and you have something like your hands here and your legs and you're barely moving them. You are working out those erector spinae, especially by moving the legs like that, right? But if you're healthy, then you can afford to go onto that low back extension, that hyperextension machine, where your legs are locked in, you're coming all the way forward, and now you're stretching the muscle to the maximal degree before you come up and contract, and you're going through the full range of motion, and you're hitting the muscle better. So if you know the action, and you know how to fully activate that muscle, you know how to fully stretch that muscle before activating it, to get the most out of your workouts and eventually your recovery. So that's what we got for you guys. It could be hopefully very useful to you if you're into exercise or you're recovering. And it's recovery, by the way. Let's say one more thing. So if you're back, so what if, Shane, I can't even move my back? Right? I want to work those muscles and strengthen them to help prevent injury in the future and the muscles around them, but I just can't quite tolerate that yet. So I can't even do that if my erector spinae are strained. I can't even go back. Well, what you want to do is you want to affect the muscles actually that do the opposite motion, right? If you can't touch anything around that muscle, you're too inflamed, it's too acute, then you would want to activate the muscle fibers that move you in the opposite direction, the muscles that move in the opposite way, right? And so what would you want to strengthen if the injury was here and you can't move it? Probably the core, right? It's the opposite, on the opposite side, right? And the same thing goes for, pecs versus something behind them, right? In the back, doing like a row. Or you're completely relaxing the pecs then, or the erector spinae by doing abs. And so you're relaxing that muscle while strengthening something else that's going to help pull you in the opposite direction and take stress off the muscle that is damaged. So, just look up the action. Hey, I appreciate it, brother. I'm glad you get something out of it. You the man. Appreciate you, Dave. Beast from the East. Every time, man. This is like your sign here. But you don't have to know much about working out. You can just look up, triceps action, right? And you see that extension of the form and things like that. And then you'll know what to do without looking up videos on all these different workouts. This is where these people get that information and how anyone in the first place figured out how to activate these muscles, right? They probably did it by trial and error at first, of course, but when we knew the anatomy, now you know the actions, goes a long way. So let's see what we got on here. Say what's up to the people. And we're at When Wellness, like every day. So we're going to do work. Keep it on Saturday. It's okay. It's pouring here too. Ivan, what's up? Veggies and boy. Ivan, love you, man. Stefan Apple Blue. Real Tajani. OG. Skills. And Master Dave. As for now. So we got for you, folks. We'll see you tomorrow, baby. Not sure where, not sure when. But we'll damn right see you then. Have a great one. Thanks a lot. And happy When Wellness. See you guys tomorrow. Happy Saturday. Enjoy it.